Hi, Diane.
There you go. Okay. How are you?
I'm doing well. Will Mike and Mark have access to screen sharing and all that good stuff?
What I have to do when they come on is I make them a co-host and then they will be able to.
Okay, great. How's your day going so far?
Not bad. Not bad. I've got a conversation this afternoon with somebody that's got thrown out of a market. So that's going to be a tough one.
Oh, really? Oh, that's tough. Hi, Pierre.
Hello, good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm early, right?
Yeah, we'll get started probably shortly after 1.
Cool. All right, I'm at the market, so I'll be in and out.
Okay.
All right.
It will be starting shortly. We're just waiting for our speaker to get fully here and then we'll get going. And Jack, if you'd like to take over.
Hey, everyone. Hey, Mike, is Mark still planning on attending?
Yes, he misplaced the link, but he's getting on imminently.
He found us.
Yeah, there he is.
I'm here.
Well, I'll get started with a little introduction, and then I'll let you guys take it away. So welcome, everyone. My name is Jack Griffel. I'm the Assistant Director of the Farmers Market Federation of New York. And each month, the Federation hosts a monthly member and friends meetup on the fourth Tuesday of the month from 1 to 2 p.m. You don't have to worry, though, if this is your first one. You can find all of our webinars archived on our website under the Programs tab, conveniently at the top of the website. But today we have Mike Parker and Mark Russo from the Community Outreach Team at Farm Generations Cooperative, a company building technology for farms. And they're here today to talk to us about their software platform, Grown By, that facilitates buying and selling local food online. Before we begin, let's make sure that everyone's muted. Looks like everyone is. Thank you. And if you have any questions that come up during the webinar, please feel free to put them in the chat. Mark and Mike, take it away.
Thank you, Jack. I guess just as a quick introduction, because Mark's going to do most of the talking here. I think a lot of you were probably on the call, I think it was 2 months ago now, when MarketLink did a presentation about Snap Online. And so we were asked back by Diane to give a little bit of more of an in-depth introduction to Grown By, because in order to use Snap Online, farmers are going to have to create a Grown By account and do their Snap sales through Grown By. And so we're bringing on Mark today, who does this kind of like introduction to Grown By presentation to farmers all around the country. But we're actually both based in New York here. So I'm currently in Albany, but I have a farm in Cooperstown, New York, where I raise grass-fed beef. And so yeah, so I'm part of Grown By. I'm on like the team here, and also New York farmer. So. But yeah, Mark, if you want to introduce yourself and just jump into the presentation, we'll basically walk through like the features of Grown By, but leave a lot of time for questions if people want to get into it, and we can screen share and show you all the different aspects of the platform if you want to.
Sure do. Before I get started, I just want to apologize. My internet connection has been kind of sketchy for the last couple of weeks, especially because it's raining. So if I cut in and out, I apologize in advance. When I do the presentation, I'll turn my video off just so that doesn't have that as a factor. Yeah, so like Mike said, I'm also a farmer in New York. I'm also on one of the committees for the Troy Farmers Market, because I used to go to that market all the time, the sustainability committee. And now I live north of Troy. And to get into kind of what Grown By like does, or what Grown By is more generally, it's like at basics, it's a software platform that can work with farmers that are selling at farmers markets, to make it easier for customers to shop with them at farmers markets, as well as like just expand their overall ability to sell more produce and sell more things to more people. So I believe I'm sharing my screen now with my presentation. Is that
Looks
visible?
good. Yep,
Okay,
that's
cool. I'm going to turn off my video and dig right into it. So like I said, Grown By is a platform, a software platform, but structurally, Grown By is actually the product of the Farm Generations Cooperative. That's what Mike and I work for. Mike is one of the founders. of the co-op. And when farmers start selling on Grown By, they immediately become eligible to become an owner of the cooperative, which gives them certain privileges within the co-op. The three main benefits are a financial equity piece, where your sales and the fees that you pay toward based on your sales give you a ownership stake in the co-op, and you can get a distribution of a dividend based on the profits of the cooperative. But we balance that out where a bigger farm that makes more sales might get a bigger dividend. We are a true blue, as it's called, one member, one vote cooperative, where every farm gets an equal say in the voting of the decision making of the cooperative, as well as on the board of directors, which is majority farmer owners, and has more involvement in sort of the closer to the day-to-day of the organization. And of course, we've tried to do everything we can with kind of the structure of our organization to create as much direct democratic control of farmers of this. They're essentially another marketplace of theirs that they're really dependent on. And we will get into the features of Grown By in a little bit, but a big part of our selling point is really who we are as a company and what we stand for and what we do. So we're also a value-oriented organization where we value that, we're committed to all members of the people in the food chain getting paid fairly, that our agricultural practices support a healthy global ecosystem, that acknowledging that there's a long history of injustice in the food system and highlighting farmers who are working to overcome that, that everybody in the food system deserves healthy food, and that we as farmers are in a unique position to provide that, whether you view that as a question of national food security or food as a human right, or just integrating with your community. Nobody but farmers are in the best position for that. And lastly, a mutual benefit, going back to that previous slide of our cooperative structure, really that our organization exists for the benefit of the members. And while we are a for-profit organization and the farms, many of the farms that are on our platform are for profit, we are trying to work together to build a better sort of ecosystem for all farmers to succeed. To give a little background kind of on what Grown By, why Grown By came into being. On the consumer side, customers may not know what's available. It can be very frustrating if a customer, say, is going to make a certain kind of pie for a party over the weekend and they go to the farmer's market and there's no peaches. And they might be frustrated and they might not go back to the farmer's market next time. They have to make, they need to make a specific thing. And with convenience as features that are, with DoorDash, with Walmart selling organic produce, farmers have to adapt to make it easier for customers to find them and do more.
I think your sound went out.
Yeah, we just lost your audio for a second, Mark. He did mention that that he would lose it. So feel free to keep testing when you feel like it's coming
Products
back.
that they're looking for.
Oh, now you're back.
Okay. Yep, I guess it's telling me that my internet connection is unstable, which it definitely is. So we've built this online marketplace and app. It makes it very easy for customers to find produce and figure out where they're going to buy it and pick it up, etc., very easily, and keep track of all of their transactions in one place. It also makes it very easy for folks to buy local food. You can, if you're going to be at the farmer's market, you can pre-order things to pick up at the farmer's market. If you're going to be near the farm, you can pre-order things to pick up at the farm. It makes it really easy for farmers to be able to provide things to customers where they are. On the farmer end, finding more demand can be very challenging. Almost anybody can produce more, but finding the customers is just as much work, if not more work, than actually growing the food. Direct sales can be very inefficient. It's by far the most profitable way to sell your stuff on a case-by-case basis. But sometimes, especially with weather, farmers markets can be inconsistent income for farms, and that can be very challenging when they have a lot of resources tied up in their inputs and things like that. And if they're selling at a farmer's market, managing a CSA, all of that can be a lot of administrative overhead that can be difficult for farmers to manage. And there's a trust gap with tech. Obviously the big tech companies is something, but you can look in agriculture back to railroads and there's a lot of instances where kind of the intermediate entity controls the market and makes it difficult for farms to keep the profits that they need to keep their businesses running. So we envision GrownBy as a way to have a new community around food where customers can make efficient sales and communication, and it's easier for more people to enjoy the fruits of farmers' labor. We have a lot of tools to ease administrative burden, making automating pick lists, transactions, things like that, just to make it a lot easier for farmers. Most farms that switch to GrownBy say they save about 4 hours in weekly office time. And as a farmer-owned tech company, we're the most ethical version of ag tech, and I don't think the opportunity that we have as farmers to cooperatively own a market channel like this can be overstated. So, ta-da, we have GrownBy. It's, like I said, it's an app. You can access it through either of the major cell phone platforms, and you can also access it through any device that has access to a web browser. As long as you can go to grownby.app, you can access GrownBy. Just to give you a little bit of background of kind of what we really excel at before we get into all of the features. Our support is top rated. We've won multiple awards on our software. We get a lot of really great feedback from the farms that are using the platform. And a big reason for our great support is that our staff are all farmers. Mike is here, I'm here, the rest of our staff are all either actively farming or have been farming in the last 3 years or so. And we really get it, what farmers really need. And it's not like they're dealing with a tech person who's based on the West Coast, who's, maybe has some potted plants, but doesn't really understand the intricacies of managing a CSA or why, a certain kind of vegetable needs to be sold a certain way or something like that. Some more context just for where we are as a company and where we are sort of as a platform. We've got 9,500 or so. We're growing every day. Shoppers on the platform, close to 400 farms are registered using GrownBy. And in the previous fiscal year, our farms on our platform did over $2.3 million in gross sales. All of which is to say we're a startup and we're growing, but we are really doing the things that we set out to accomplish, and creating a small but significant headway into creating a broader platform that can be useful to many farms. Now getting into the features and the nitty-gritty. So our pricing model is transparent and very simple. We deduct a 5% fee approximately from credit card transactions that are processed through the app. 2% of that goes to the co-op. That's that co-op fee. 2.9% plus 30 cents per transaction goes to the payment processor. That's consistent across pretty much any credit card transaction you're going to find. We allow for offline payments. So if farms want to allow for customers to pay with cash or like Bitcoin or whatever they want, they can do that. And we don't take any fee from that. And we are also, as Mike mentioned earlier, we do offer Snap online processing. We're the first platform to offer that directly to direct market farms, and it's entirely covered by USDA grant funding at present. So there's no cost to farmers to do online Snap processing. And so to offset some of these fees, we have some features to kind of make that easier. You can set a minimum cart size. You can also check a box on your store, and then when customers go to check out, they're then given the option to cover the fees for you or give an extra tip. And again, farms are reporting that 50 to 60% of their customers are electing to pay the fees on their behalf, which makes a huge dent in the cost over the course of a year and hundreds of transactions in the cost of using this platform for a farm, which is already, we kind of set it up to be as low as we reasonably could and have a reasonable business model, because again, we're trying to accomplish a lot more than make money based on the food system. We want to really build a better system here. We don't charge any startup fees or subscription fees. So if farms don't sell in the wintertime or something, there's no cost to maintaining their presence on GrownBy. We don't charge any fees until any sales are made, and the finances are directly deposited into a farm's bank account. They don't have to worry about checks or chasing us down for their money or anything. Now, digging into the features for farmers. Farms on Grown By have their farm shop. It's where customers will find them, purchase their products, etc. They've got a profile page where they can post pictures of their farm, tell their story, link to their social media, their website, all of that kind of stuff. We don't place any sort of limits on the number of products or different kinds of shares, different locations or schedules that they want to offer things on. So it's very flexible, really low barrier to entry, and flexibility are keywords with Grown By, kind of the name of the game with how we try to set things up. There's also a high amount of customization. You can create custom categories for various products. So if there's a vegetable farm, they probably don't want all their produce under vegetables. They might want root vegetables and green. We also don't limit whether or not farms can sell produce from other farms or sell merch or things like that. So if there's a vegetable farmer who's selling honey or beef from a neighboring farm, they can transparently show where those products are from, as well as use hashtags to identify their products if they're using particular growing practices, or there's like a New York grown, something like that. Makes it easier for customers to identify those specific things that they're looking for them. You can highlight products. We have integrated certification labels, and we also have promotional codes for discounts for various different things. Again, lots of flexibility. Grown By was built around CSA subscriptions, and some of the farms on our platform, some of you may have heard of Hardy Roots Farm, Lindsay's farm, our CEO, and they do over 1,000 CSA customer distributions on a weekly basis at like 10 different locations. So it can be very, very complex. But we also have farms on the platform that have like 15 customers and are mostly selling out of their backyard and have like 3 or 4 shares that they're picking up at a farmer's market. And it works for that too, to ease their administrative burden. So there's a lot of flexibility in the kinds of shares that you can offer year round, seasonal, primary, or add-on. We have also a lot of payment flexibility. This is a huge time saver. So you can do a traditional upfront CSA payment like you normally, the traditional way, but we also do automated weekly and monthly installment billing, which is both lowers the barrier to entry for customers and reduces the administrative burden on the farmer, because they don't have to send out invoices every week or every month to chase down payments, because it's just automatically linked to somebody's credit card. We also automatically prorate. So if somebody signs up 2 weeks into a share, we automatically calculate how much that difference is. You can link products to your CSA for add-ons or a site fee or something like that. We send automatic reminders to members about their pickups, and we have these cool vacation weeks and pickup change options, which are handy features for farmers and for customers, but they're in the customer section, so we'll get to them later. Standard products are sort of the second main way that you can sell things. And this is a way that most customers who pre-order things to pick up at a farmer's market would be doing it. So the farmer can, again, add an unlimited number of products. They get to decide what's available where and set deadlines. So if, a farm sells vegetables and beef, and they go to a farmer's market, but they can't sell beef at that market because there's another farm there who's a beef farmer and they're not allowed to, they can say, oh, well, you can buy beef, but you have to pick it up on the farm, just to make it easy. Customers do their pre-order and can pick it up at the location that they want to. We have a lot of flexible inventory options where we've got an option that's better for meat or one that is more used for produce. Within each item, you can have multiple buying options. So you can have wholesale quantities or smaller quantities coming out of the same inventory. We automatically generate your pack lists, their sign-in sheets, all of those kinds of things. We have local delivery available. It's in its final stages of testing, and that'll be released soon. And online SNAP is going to keep coming up as in the presentation as only found on Grown By. So this is a great way for you do want to sell a share to an online SNAP customer. You set up a box that a customer could buy recurring throughout the whole season, and then they just have to log on and enter their PIN every week to pay for it. Lastly, we have a digital product.
We just lost you on digital products, Mark. This is basically extra features into Grown By. So there's basically a currency system within Grown By.
What?
Sorry, Mark, I was just taking it over. We couldn't hear you on this slide. Looks like you're back now, though.
Okay, I'm back. Yeah, so I'm not sure where I got cut off.
Just at the start of this slide.
Oh, okay, yeah. So this is a way for customers to buy credit with a specific farm. It's not general grown by credit, it's each individual farm. And the farmer can create the item of a farm, whatever amounts that they choose. Customers purchase it. Customers can also gift it, so they can give a bonus amount or use it to issue a refund without having to do a chargeback. And this is great for more flexible spend down CSAs. Some farms do, some credit and then a box, and then customers can add additional things. Lots of flexibility available here. It'll part, but save it for later. Then the same framework can be applied to use to sell a lot of different things that aren't necessarily tied to a specific inventory. You want to have a buy your farmer a beer button, or you're charging a delivery fee or a deposit for a container or something like that. The product framework works really well for all of those kinds of things and more. Online EBT processing. Again, we're the only one so far. It makes it very easy for customers to use EBT. It's just as easy as using a credit card with the added step of entering a PIN. Any EBT shopper can shop on GrownBuy, and any farm that is selling eligible products can sell eligible products using GrownBuy. Customers can advance order products or boxes going forward and just have to enter their PIN every week. And we offer, I have a survey. We offer training with farmers directly to help walk them through the process of getting signed up, both with the standard SNAP, which they could use to accept at a market or at their farm, and then linking that to the online selling process. And Mike is much more has a higher degree of expertise in that than I do, so he can potentially talk more about that later. Our reports and administrative features are also are one of the highlights, even though they're not as flashy as some of the other features. We allow farmers to add admin accounts, so if they've got employees or a volunteer that manages a pickup location or whatever, they can add them and give them access to the account to pull their pick lists or see their sign-in sheets, things like that. We've got a brand new sales report tab, which really dials in their sales over a given period of time. You can also generate your reports and your distributions based on a specific date range or going to a different location. So a farm is packing up to go to 3 different farmers market, and they have pickups at each location. They can separate those easily. We generate the sign-in sheets for customers to pick their stuff up, the packing sheets for farmers to pick their orders. These can all be filtered and searched and exported in a lot of different ways, depending on what farmers need. Some farms use a label maker. You can export a Excel file to do that, for example. You can also add customers and create orders for them. So if there's a customer who doesn't want to use a computer for whatever reason, whether it's a chef or somebody else, a farm can create a customer profile for them and still keep track of all of those transactions, their inventory, their financial information in one place, and as well as message those customers directly from the app and find all their past due invoices and send invoices, payment reminders, all that kind of thing very easily. All right, just a sec, I'm gonna take a drink of water. All right, dig into the consumer side. So once a customer has signed up for GrownBuy, oh look, that's Sleeping Lion Farm, that's Mike's farm. Once they sign up for GrownBuy and the sign up process is integrated into checking out, it's not like they don't have to sign up in order to start shopping. Once they've created their account, they can shop at any farm that is on GrownBuy. So the more farms that are on the platform, and even the more farms that have distribution locations in the same place, like for example, the same farmers market, the stronger the platform is and the more useful it is for customers and farmers to use. So they can use a map to find distributions close to them. They can search for specific products using keywords or browse for lamb if they're looking for lamb. They can favorite their favorite farms, quickly access them, leave reviews, and we've got a bunch of sign-in options just to make it very easy to get signed up. Oops, double click by accident. Payments are super quick and easy with customers. It's a convenience feature for customers, and it also can save farmers, they can offer farmers some additional sales because, I got an unstable note, but I can see Mike's head moving, so I know I'm still good. For customers saying, oh, I want to buy this, I'll buy this thing to pick it up, but I left my wallet in the other room, I'll just do it tomorrow, and then they forget, or they cross the deadline or something. It's less of a concern because we've saved their credit card information securely in the app. And that's the same is true with with EBT payments. We save that with the same system. A customer just has to enter their PIN every time to make the transaction. With the installment payments, I went over that earlier, but that's great for customers and for farms. All their invoices and receipts, I know it's hard to kind of see here, but your invoices, receipts, and all of this stuff is clearly visible in one place. Customers can see all their transactions without having to track down a bunch of go to different websites and things like that. And if farm accepts offline payments, they set that policy. So as I mentioned before, we don't take a fee out of that, but we also, our automated sort of payment structure doesn't, we can't collect cash on your behalf. So a farm would have to, go through the effort of getting paid. And that's part of why we don't charge a fee. Schedules and invoices and orders, as you can see, are also very straightforward. Customers can easily access their upcoming pickups, their orders. They can see their pickup schedules very clearly. Directions and contact info from the farmer are included on every reminder, as well as on the pickup itself in the app. And customers can also pay upcoming invoices in advance if they want to, if that comes up. Reminders and notifications are also automated. So we send push notifications if they have the app, as well as email reminders for pickups. We send email receipts for all transactions. Customers can have 2 email addresses per account. So if there's a household with 2 parents and they're alternating picking up their CSA share, they can put in both email addresses, both get those notifications, not have to share a login or anything like that. And as I mentioned, the notes from notifications from farmers include notes like the pickup policy, location info, things like that. Vacation weeks are a really sweet feature. As a farmer is setting up a share, they can add any number of vacation weeks to that share, as well as their change by date by the group. And that allows a customer to plan in advance, claim a vacation week or 2 for their share, and they automatically will get farm credit added to their account in a prorated amount for the weeks that they're claiming vacation for. The farmer will get a notification, doesn't have to take any action. Their pack list will be updated. And it's a win-win for both customer, because the customer will retain that value they've spent on that share. They could potentially, if they're taking 2 weeks off of a 20-week CSA, that's pretty significant investment that they're losing, but they get to keep that value in this case. And the farmer has provided a high level of customer service to the customer without lifting a finger, and they now have a customer with extra money in their account that they're more likely to come back and shop with them more in the future. Same with location switching. This saves farmers from having to, worry about getting a text message when they're out in the field that, like, Linda's going to pick up at the farmer's market instead of at the school, and having to remember to change things around when they get back to the office. Instead, if Linda wants to do that, she can just log into the app, switch her location, as long as she's outside the window. Again, the farmer would get a notification, but doesn't have to take any action. It would all automatically be updated. So again, win-win. Lastly, account updates are also self-service and grown by. So customers, as long as they keep their information updated in the app, it will be updated for the farmer. There's always the ability to export the information if they want to send out a newsletter email or just keep track of their customer information separately. But they don't have to, farmers don't have to keep track of all of that themselves. And we do have on the farmer side a notes section for each customer. So if a customer has an allergy or they don't like a particular, they don't want any arugula in their share, the farmer can keep track of that stuff. Our coming soon features, some of which are here now, are all coming due in 2023. Online snap processing is live now. And so you can contact me at grow@farmgenerations.coop for more information if you want to learn more about that. Our delivery feature is in its final testing, but coupon codes are live now, and we are adding shipping features coming soon. Our third-party app integrations are also improving with things like QuickBooks or outside email services, and we actively engage with farms on the platform to help us beta test and develop these features to make sure that we are developing them in the way that farms actually really need, instead of just the way that we think that they might want to use them. Our reports and data management have improved and are going to continue to improve. We are now adding more features, tracking sales, showing things like week over week or month over month, what was the most profitable, what was the highest selling, pointing out, hey, there's a third week in April, people buy a ton of beets. But so maybe next year you want to plan your harvest or plan your planting schedule around that. Or nobody's coming to the market on the 4th of July, so you can take it easy on harvesting that week, whatever it is. And then also all of our improvements and many of the current features are directly based on farmer feedback, whether farmers who are using the platform or who are interested and are looking for a particular thing. So if there's a specific feature that you would like to see, let us know, give us a shout. We'll put it on the list of things to consider, because we are always trying to improve and we want to make things as best as we can for the people who are actually using the platform. This is my contact info here. You can mark at farmgenerations.coop, grow at farmgenerations.coop also works. And if you're interested, you can go to farmgenerations.coop or growby.app. The buttons that say schedule a demo both lead back to me, so I'm pretty easy to get a hold of. And that about wraps it up for my presentation. Sorry for the choppiness again, but thank you for your time and attention. Hope I didn't talk too fast, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Thanks, Mark. You weren't too choppy, just a few times.
All right.
There are a few questions in the chat that I've been kind of answering, but we could go over them as a group so that everybody sees the answers, and maybe I can give more context. So the first question came from Susan from the Kingston Farmers Market, asking if Grown By is just for farmers or also for other food vendors at markets. So very good question. Right now, Grown By is only for farmers. We, especially with this like rollout of Snap Online starting this year, and realizing that like, because USDA is not giving farmers markets themselves an option to get into the Snap Online pilot, like through this grant program, we recognize that that's probably going to be a question. Like we're basically talking about Grown By to market managers. They're like half or more of the people at our markets are not farmers. So, so that's a conversation that we are opening up with our co-op members right now, because basically it's a big change to kind of like what the purpose of Grown By is. Like, are we going to support, like spend our like limited customer support resources on like supporting non-farmers when we're a farmer co-op? Like, so they're kind of big questions for our co-op to decide on. So right now, no, if like a baker tried to create a Grown By account, I mean, we would have to enforce the rule. We would have to like close down their account, but it's against the terms of service, yeah, like the agreements that you sign on when you're saying that you're a farmer. But I think there's an opportunity, especially if like the demand is there, and if we're starting to work with more farmers at markets, that that rule could change. But it's what it is now. If a farmer's not already taking Snap, is this a way that they can get started with Snap? So like is using Grown By a way that they get started with Snap? So you do, in order to get Snap Online certification, you do have to, like one step in that process, besides having a Grown By account, is being a Snap authorized retailer, which is awfully annoying because a lot of people want to just use on, like, for me, for instance, like I became a Snap authorized retailer this year because I want to do Snap Online, and I don't intend to use like an EBT reader Like most of my sales are online, or they're like, CSA shares that I distribute, on multiple sites in the city. So, I'd rather do all the transactions online rather than use an EBT reader. But anyway, it's just part of the process. And that again is a thing that may change, but it's changing the way that USDA is implementing online purchasing pilot, which was really the rules for that were designed for grocery stores, which would have been SNAP retailers already. But all that said, we are helping farmers, and MarketLink, our partner and like the grantee in this project, will help farmers one-on-one with getting that retailer authorization. And then we'll help them set up their Grown By accounts too. And then Kelly asked, how are customers mostly connecting with farms on Grown By? So it is mostly that farmers are bringing their own customers onto Grown By, for sure. Like you might have an active CSA already, and you're inviting all of your CSA members, like, before you buy your shares this year, like, I'm selling them on Grown By, here's the link to my shop. Right now, Grown By is not really a tool for building your customer base. It's more a tool for like managing your existing farm more effectively, more efficiently. But that, I think Mark kind of got into that a little bit at the start of the presentation, is like, that is the vision for Grown By, is that as a co-op, we can start marketing the platform on behalf of all of our, all the farmers selling on the platform. So, you can see things like, the same way that like Uber advertises itself, or, Airbnb advertises itself. Like you might highlight certain hosts if you're doing an Airbnb ad or something, but at the end of the day, you're just basically advertising for the benefit of everybody, but with a less extractive model than those other kinds of platforms. But yeah, we're just not up to that kind of scale yet, or like that kind of concentration in a particular area. So I think we would start doing that kind of marketing once we had, say, 100 farms that sell in a particular area, selling on Grown By, then it kind of justifies us advertising for them. Okay, so that's all the questions that were in the chat, but happy to answer any more I don't know if we actually have time, folks organizing this, like if we're going over. And also we can share a screen and look at Grown By itself, like the back end of it, if there's anything in particular that you guys are curious about seeing there.
Hi, Mike. Thanks so much. I've got a question or maybe this is actually for Mark in the beginning. You mentioned that your organization promotes better farm practices. How does the organization do that?
Well, I wouldn't say that we're not like a production technical assistant, like we don't have those kinds of services. I would say the way is through like marketing and certification. So like if you are organic certified, you could put that on your shop. Customers that might be specifically looking for that kind of food would be able to find you that way. I think again, it's one of those like longer term things of if this were a way for a lot of people who are buying local food, those kinds of certifications would become more important because people would be filtering by it the same way they filter their purchases when they're in a grocery store or something. It also, I think in general, like making direct marketing more of a viable business model is a thing that supports sustainable farm practices, because generally if you have sustainable farm practices, you probably have more expensive operations, and so you probably need to capture more of that food dollar, which kind of leads you down the road of like, I need to be selling products to retail customers. So I think having these kinds of tools available for direct marketing farmers like is part of that process of like farmers being able to like do the kind of practices that are less extractive environmentally or less extractive of labor, because they can actually make money if they are running like mission-oriented businesses.
Sure. And then has anything come up about any resellers on the platform?
We keep an eye on those kinds of things. It's hard for us to like police everything that's happening, but if there were like a big account doing a lot of reselling, we'd know it. The rules are that you have to be selling half of you should be producing half of what you sell on the platform. but we definitely are open to and encourage people to be selling other people's farms, to be selling other farms or other producers' products. Like I think that's an important part of, especially if you're maybe not selling through a farmer's market, but selling like a CSA share, like CSA is in a rural place where you actually might be the best provider of food in your community. Yeah, it's like great to collaborate with other producers. So that's all fine to do, to resell other people's products through Grown By.
Sure. And then just one last one to follow up. My audio wasn't working when you probably answered Suzanne's question, but is there a certain criteria that farmers need to meet in order to sell on Grown By?
It's that producing half of what you sell. And it's agricultural production. So, it could be like even like fishing and stuff like that, but not producing in terms of like value added production. So it's not meant for like bakers or people make other than food products.
But like if a raspberry farm was selling jam, that would be fine.
Great, thanks.
And just to get back to that, the point about the practices, I didn't get the certifications that we are integrated with are USDA organic welfare, animal welfare approved, certified naturally grown, Demeter certified, American grass fed, and Real Organic Project. And those we'll probably continue to add more as we get more institutional partnerships.
I have a question as well. You indicated that right now grant funds from USDA are covering the SNAP transaction fees. How long does that last? And then how are those fees covered post-grant?
Yeah, this is the golden question here. So right now, we're online SNAP transactions go through WorldPay on Grown By. So like WorldPay is the transaction provider. There's one other, I think, Fiserv that can do online SNAP transactions. So like basically if you're a grocery store doing this or a farmer or whatever, you're either working with WorldPay or Fiserv. And the grant basically covers the first 12 months of that WorldPay service for like as farmers sign on. So like once you get your certification, your 12-month clock starts. After that, to be honest, there's not clarity. So it's new to everybody. It is a pilot program. It's new to WorldPay. Like WorldPay doesn't know what it costs to like provide this service to farmers or how many farmers are going to do it. Kind of because we have the same question of market linking USDA. It's like, what the heck happens? We have to present this to all these farmers. And the thing that we can do best is to get a lot of people using it so that per person it is like less expensive to run, essentially. I think there's lots of opportunities for either Market Link having enough funding in the grant for this to just like continue extending those options, like extending that coverage. I don't think they'll say that they'll do that or that that's an option, but that's certainly an option that they'll just keep extending throughout the grant period, which is, I think there's 3 years left on it right now. But yeah, from what I know about what WorldPay is charging Market Link under this grant per farm, it's it's probably prohibitively expensive, besides for like some of the biggest direct marketing farms that they wouldn't keep doing it. So that's a reality that USDA is aware of, that Market Link's aware of, that we're aware of, that like without this coverage, the program will fail. So USDA for like all the way up the chain in FNS is trying to support this and make this work. So I don't think that anybody's going to like leave a farmer flat, but I guess that's not my I don't have any power over that decision. That's just my interpretation of it.
So then Novadia has no part in this program.
No, yeah, Novadia does not. Novadia that's another thing that we're working on with Market Link is potentially trying to get Novadia to become one of those transaction providers for online SNAP, so that so there's more competition to WorldPay, and also Novadia and Market Link have been working together for years or maybe a decade at this point.
A long time.
So anyway, that's all kind of like conjecture behind the scenes, but that's another option for us, is to at least present that there's another maybe more affordable option to work with farmers on this.
Okay, thank you.
I think the goal though is to like get farmers using Snap Online so that USDA agrees that it's like this is a thing that's working, and then there can be solutions. But if nobody's using Snap Online, you know, maybe because they're scared of what happens after a year, then it kind of guarantees that there's going to be nobody to provide funding for Snap Online for farmers. So it is a little bit of a catch-22 there for everybody.
So those farmers that may already be accepting SNAP, they could already go onto Grown By, set up an account, and begin to accept SNAP through your program.
Not so they need to set up their Grown By account. They need to be
Right.
Snap retailers, and then we can basically submit the letter of inquiry for them to USDA's online purchasing pilot team to start that certification process for Snap Online.
Okay.
So that's like right now we have one certified farm. We have another one that's in testing as of yesterday, another one that's starting their testing next week. So we should have 3 like within a couple weeks that are certified. But that we've basically just agreed to a onboarding process with the online purchasing pilot team as of like this week, that can start getting more efficient and quicker. But they've been very you know, it's a USDA thing. They're the new programs of them. I think they're very cautious about, you know, like adding new farms when, you know, the first farm is just making their first transactions and stuff. They're scared of fraud with online transactions in general. So it's been slow, but basically the process looks like if you're a SNAP authorized retailer as a farm, you set up your Grown By account, we submit a letter of inquiry to online purchasing pilot to kind of like initialize the whole process for Snap Online. And then there's basically like a bunch of forms that we help you fill out. You set up your WorldPay account through some of those forms. And then it's at the beginning here, it's kind of a state by state process. Like we're trying to start New York State next week. Like first letters of inquiry for New York farms will start next week. So this is a good place to be in just because like Grown By has a lot of concentrated activity here. But basically you need to get the state's like EBT provide. I don't even know the background of all this, but like whoever is processing EBT transactions in the state like needs, or like issuing EBT cards also needs to come on board with USDA to like get into Snap Online for farmers. So it's a little bit different than how they're implementing like for grocery stores. So even if your state already has grocery stores accepting Snap Online, like it's a little bit different you have to do to start working with farmers for Snap Online. So anyway, so it's a little bit like we basically can't add farms in a state until we add that like state to the program.
Okay, but you're saying that part will be ready.
Yeah, right now we
Next
have that
week.
done in Louisiana where our first farm is, and in Vermont and Connecticut is starting right now, and then New York we're gonna get the first letter of inquiry in next week, which starts that process of getting the state on board.
Great, thank you.
A lot of the work I think that we've been doing on the online SNAP has both been, it's like part of it is developing the tools on our platform to make it work. And then a lot of what we've been doing with the grant is like working with the USDA and the other institutions to kind of like recalibrate towards working with small farms as opposed to working with large grocery store chains. That's why kind of a lot of it is still in development, because they have to pivot also. And as you, I'm sure, know, the USDA is not exactly a nimble organization. So it's the way it goes.
Yep, but we're very glad you're that close to getting New York up and running.
Yeah, you know, I want to use it, so.
Yeah. So anybody that's on the call that's thinking about getting your farm on there, if you're not SNAP authorized, then we've got to get you going. So, you know, you can look at Market Link, you can go to these guys for some assistance. The Federation also will help you get through the application process. So, you know, make a call one way or the other, but we're ready to get you going. Anyone else have any questions? Okay, Jack, I'm going to send it back to you.
All right. Well, Mark and Mike, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to share with us all about Grown By. We so appreciate it. And, we look forward to, seeing you in the news and seeing all the great things that you guys are doing.
Thank you, Jack. And yeah, Mark just put into the chat the survey that is basically our intake. So if you are a farm or you're working with farms interested in Snap Online, it's like a 1-minute form. It's just a way for people to indicate to us that they're interested, and then we'll start helping one-on-one. And I also put my email address in there in case anybody has follow-up questions, and Mark has also. So, thanks, everybody.
Great, thank you. And we'll be back next month, hopefully with someone from the FBI about market security. And so look forward to seeing everyone there.
No, we've got that wrong. Next week, we're actually
Oh.
talking about environmental practices at farmers markets. FBI is August.
I stand corrected. I'm looking forward to August already.
Let's not push. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care.